all day and all night before the storm? No, he was in the storm. All that praying, all that stuff was already done. He already spent time with the Father. You know, when he would draw away from the multitudes, he'd get away from the multitudes so that way he could spend time. If you're around people a lot, too many times, they slowly by slowly, they might veer off and what we call, they surface. Meaning, we have our Starbucks times and we'll talk about deep spiritual things. And then sometimes if I get silly, Kim will say, Dominic, dive, don't surface. Because on the surface, he gets rocky. On the surface is the surface things. But when you go deep, it's the important things. It's the precious things. So she'll be like, Dominic, dive. And I know what that means. That means, hey, let's get back to, speaking at this depth. Because it's totally different. I do a lot of diving. Well, I used to. And no matter how rough the ocean is on the top, if you dive down after a certain depth, it's calm. The fish, they're not panicked. They're just cruising. But when you get closer and shallower, it gets really rough. The waves will pull you and push you, and you're going up and you're going down, and you're seeing the floor, come closer and go further, and after a while, it can get kind of weird. But when you dive down and you get below that, it's calm. And when you look up, you can see all the chaos on the top. You can hear sometimes the ocean hitting the rocks. But the fish, they're just, I'm sure that they can sense something's going on, but they're just as happy as can be in the bottom. One thing that helped me is, one day I was going through something and I said, Lord, where am I at in this story? If this was a story in the Bible, for example, let's just say that the Daniel in the lion's den. There's different stages of that story. One stage he's praying, one stage he's facing the king, the next stage he's being accused, and then the next stage he's being tied up to be thrown in, and the next stage the top opens and he's thrown down, and then next thing he's down there. So there's all different stages. And I said, Lord, where am I at in this story of my life? And how do I apply my faith in this story? And where I thought I was this far, the Lord says, no, you're way back here. This is where you're at this time, and this is what you need to do for this present situation. There's times the Lord says, I want you to stand. There's times He says, I want you to speak. There's times He says, I want you to rejoice. There's times He says, I just want you to pull back and don't even think about it. And it's not always the same thing over and over, but it's always what He said to do. And it is amazing because every time He says to do it this way, it does not seem like it's going to work out. It does not seem like it has anything related to what I'm going through. But if I obey what He says, the outcome is always better than what I thought. You ever been there where you might be facing a situation you think, this is what I need today. If I can just get work here and work this many hours or do this or do that, I can, and you got everything all planned out. And then if one little thing gets kinked, it throws everything off. And then all of a sudden stress and panic and worry try to come in. Now you got to revamp everything and figure it out. And this person failed on you, they didn't show up, or something didn't happen, and now you're like, I got to remain walking in love with this person, man. I just want to, they gave me that's the arm of the flesh. But when we say, Lord, how do I do this? What do you want me to do? Because I'm going to testify about this someday. And I can't testify how good I am because I'm not that good because I failed. So Lord, what do you want me to do? Yeah. And when He says, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go here and do this. And you say, that does not make sense at all. But then when you obey, and that in that line of obedience, as you're heading that direction, God's already working in all this other stuff. Removing people and adding people and doing whatever He does best. And then next thing you know, it happened quicker. Or it happened better, or it saved you money, or whatever it might have been. Have you ever been there?
Yes. That's right.
Have you ever been on both sides of it, where you obeyed and then you disobeyed?
Yes.
And we can all say in hindsight, obeying God is way better.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how sometimes we say, God can't take care of this. He won't do it on my timetable. That's right, He won't. He does it on His timetable, and it's much better. Because He's not limited by time.
Right.
He's not limited by He's not limited by the world's system of operating. His supersedes that. For example, there was a job last year that I was on, and in order to get paid, you got to get it done.
Right.
And the guy that got me the job, my job was just to bring in gravel. And it was for 6,000 square feet of an area. Actually, several different areas, but all total 6,000 square feet. And we had camp meeting coming up for Rhema, and then I had a Norway mission trip. Well, I would not work during camp meeting, because I like to serve. Well, he wanted it done during camp meeting. Dominic, we got to get this thing done. It has to be done, because if you don't get done, the next thing you know, the guy that's going to come in after you, he can't get done, and then you're going to put the playground guy out. So there's a chain that happens. You can mess a lot of people up by not finishing your part. And I started to take on stress and take on work during I was eating lunch one day, and I called everybody I knew that could help me. No, I can't help you. No, I'm going to be busy. No, I can't. I said, look, man, I'll pay you. I don't care what it is. It's just I need your help. I need to get this in. I can't be there. No. That's all I heard was no. I can't. And after about half an hour, I started to get really anxious. And I felt a knot. To the point my flesh was just saying, just don't even go and just do it yourself. Don't go to camp meeting. Don't go get fed. Don't go to a spiritual meeting and get fed and hear about God. Go and work. That's what my flesh was saying. And I said, Lord, I apologize for taking this on for this long. I cast this upon you right now. I need your help, Lord. I don't know what to do. And that's pretty much basically what I said. And that day, it took a while for me to just step away from those thoughts. And then, I think the next day, or a day and a half later, whatever it was, the guy called me. He says, Dominic, don't even worry about the base. He says, something else got delayed on the project. We're delayed for about 3 weeks. That was already in the plan that God had. He already knew, but I never gave it to him. You might say, well, why didn't he just tell you that earlier? I don't know. Maybe he was waiting for me to cast it and trust him. See, because I know better. I'm sure if I was a baby, it would have been different. There's times I act like a baby. But God says, no, you know better. And he holds me to that. And I got to do camp meeting with knowing there's no way that they're going to change that, because when this guy told me this is what happened, there's no way. I was like, praise God. I enjoyed camp meeting. I enjoyed my Norway trip. And then when I got back, I still had a few days to relax, and then we got the job finished. But that was a mountain. That was causing turmoil for a little bit of my life. 2 months of my life for that. Just even if it was for 30 minutes. But God had a plan. So no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter if it's finances, if it's healing, or if it's somebody, or if it's something, it doesn't matter what it is. Nothing is too hard for God. He knows how to do it. He knows how to fix a broken body. In fact, in Catherine Kuhlman's services, he knows how to grow out limbs that were not there. Now that's amazing. Could you imagine walking into a service with no arm and walking out with an arm? Just think about it. It happened. I've seen legs grow out. That's awesome. But for something that was not there to be there after, imagine. Let's just imagine, you're praising God and you're like this with one hand. And all of a sudden you feel something, there's this hand that's popped out. And it just starts growing out. And it's the same length. It's got its own fingerprints. The skin color matches. It works. That's our God. That's amazing. That is an awesome miracle. But that still does not even come close to somebody getting saved. But it's still an awesome miracle. A doctor can't even do that. In all their knowledge, in all their good technologies. God just says, man, let's just pop this thing out. What do you... I like to think about stuff like that, when I get on a vein or something like that. What does God think about? What is it like when He sees the joy on somebody's face when they realize God is doing something in my life right now.